I'm going to need to speak to you too afterwards. I need a recommendation. Okay, then I'll speak to him. I need a recommendation for someone to put on our Administrative Appeals Board for the International Property Maintenance Code. It's vacant.
Is that one of those, Ken, that it has to be a resident? Or can it be a
No, doesn't, nope. Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
My glasses is up here.
What's that? Okay, yeah, Juneteenth is, oh, okay, so it was announced that you were part of the, last announcement.
Oh, how close are we to this week, next week? You're not sure yet?
I think next week should be good, yeah. I'm counting. I'm pushing.
I just thought about that because I didn't even.
You know what I'll do? I'll check with Mimi. I'll have Mimi send me information, see if the check came in or when she thinks when we're done here. We'll go to my office.
And then we can have our food and our refreshments and we can just look out the window and see this, we can get that for. No, I do. So what is happening in Juneteenth?
I don't that? I don't think so. I read it and I didn't see it. Okay. Yep. Okay. Some other time period. Thanks. Either Monday or Wednesday next week.
That's one that was. Where's the parking? Where's the parking? Anyway, for parking? So that you don't get tickets?
No, it's not there. So you got.
Oh, I don't know. I remember that. So, so, this is what I call,
Thanks, Drew. This is it.
all right.
What's that?
Ready, Justin? We on? All right. Good afternoon. Welcome to the City of Chester Deliberative Meeting for Monday, May 12th, 2025. We're all in attendance. Is Council Lady still on the phone? Yes. Council Lady Gibson is on the phone. Hi. Let's get started, Mr. Solicitor.
Thank you, Your Honor, members of council, members of the public. Welcome to the Monday, May 12th, 2025 deliberative meeting for the City of Chester. The following matters are on today's agenda. Resolutions for final passage on Wednesday at the regular meeting. Resolution 61, authorize appointment of Annette Pyatt as a member of the Chester City Planning Commission to fill the unexpired term of Harry Cotman, term to expire December 31, 2025. Resolution 62, authorize the installation of an honorary street sign renaming a portion of Barclay Street at West 7th Street to William B. Starks Way in recognition of faithful service and leadership in the community. Resolution 63, authorize entering into a license agreement with the Pennsylvania Department of Environmental Protection to allow for the accessibility, installation, maintenance, and operation and removal of an air monitoring station and associated equipment at a designated location within the City of Chester's park system. Resolution 64, authorize the Second Amendment to the Keystone Communities Camera Initiative Phase 2 project with the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania Department of Community and Economic Development to extend the expiration date to June 30, 2026. Resolution 65, to authorize the adoption of a parking-related fee schedule pursuant to the recommendations from the City of Chester Parking System Review and Enhancement Plan to enact parking fees and violation rates within the City of Chester's commercial business district and residential permit parking program areas with an effective date of implementation of July 1, 2025. In addition to the aforementioned resolutions, my understanding is that a motion will be made to amend today's agenda to allow for the addition of 2 additional resolutions today and at Wednesday's regularly scheduled meeting. Is there such a motion?
So move.
Second.
The motion is to create a 3-member board.
You want me to read the 2?
Okay, you want to read?
Just to be very clear, if you don't mind, Mayor, thank you. So can we first have a vote on the motion to amend the agenda?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so amended. The first, and now do we have a motion to add resolution number 66, 2025? And this would be a resolution which would read as follows. Whereas the City of Chester and Lenai Electric Corporation entered into an agreement for the traffic light installation for the Route 291 and Route 322 off-ramp Jeffrey Street project for the City of Chester on January 23rd, 2025. Whereas the recently installed traffic light at Route 291 and Jeffrey Street requires a $9,039 change order as it failed PennDOT inspection due to the absence of quote-unquote contrasts in the arrow marking in the road. Now therefore, the City of Council of the City of Chester does resolve that it does hereby authorize the proper city official to execute said change order in the amount of $9,039. That would be the resolution. Is there a motion to add that resolution?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Passes.
In addition to, there will be another resolution, and this would be, let me see. Resolution number 67, 2025, and this would be a motion to propose a resolution of council to establish an International Property Maintenance Code Appeals Board pursuant to section 111.2 of the 2018 International Property Maintenance Code, and to appoint 3 members who are qualified by experience and training to pass on matters pertaining to property maintenance who are not employees of this jurisdiction. The code official shall be an ex officio member, but shall not vote on any matter before the Board of Appeals. The board shall be appointed by council, and appointed members shall serve staggered and overlapping terms. Is there such a motion to add that resolution?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
It passes.
And that would conclude the list.
Thank you. Any questions, comments, council, on the matters on the agenda today? From 66, I'm sorry, from 61 to 65, or 61 to 65.
R62. I know I got an email sent to me last night and, from Reverend Thaddeus Kirkland, and I know there was an email between you and him. What's the status with that?
The original request from Reverend Kirkland was for an honorary street sign on 7th Street, you know, the block that they're on. We modified what's on the agenda from the original request to be Barclay Street at 7th Street because I guess the current approach to honorary street signs has, one, to only be naming name streets as opposed to numbered streets. So don't name 7th Street, name like Fulton or Barclay Street. So that's been one policy that we've had so far with the honorary street signs. And then the other reason that we adjusted to Barclay as opposed to Fulton is because we have received a previous request from Range Memorial Church, which is on the corner of 7th and Fulton, for a honorary street sign for them. So since Reverend Kirkland's church is kind of in the middle of that block on 7th Street, we adjusted to the other side of that to Barclay Street so that we could accommodate both requests. I do know that he responded. I was talking with the mayor earlier about that. We haven't responded back because we just wanted to have a conversation about it and, you know, try to connect with him personally about that. I guess essentially it has been sort of a first come, first served basis. I mean, we can't necessarily anticipate, we're not going to put a sign here because we think someone else is going to request a sign down the road. But I think with this particular one, Range Memorial had verbally requested a honorary street sign at the same time that we wrote a citation from council for their pastor who had passed away. But that was kind of prior to us nailing down this, how we started doing the red honorary street signs. We hadn't nailed that down at that time, so we kind of held off on it, and then we were reminded about that original request at the recent national prayer gathering event where they said, what's the status of that request? So that was basically at the same time that Reverend Kirkland reached out about his street sign. So in order to try to accommodate both requests, we could do one at 7th and Fulton, do the other at 7th and Barclay, and that way, we could do both. So I understand that Reverend Kirkland prefers to have it at Fulton as opposed to Barclay. And again, we just haven't responded back and had a conversation there. So we weren't able to do that in time before this deliberative.
Yeah, see, something about Reverend Starks at 7th and Fulton and Range Memorial at 8th and Fulton.
Church is at 7. Right on the corner.
Mm-hmm.
Front door. Doesn't make sense. I'll make an attempt to reach out to Mayor Kirkland unless you want to. Okay, I'll give him a call. He's agreeable. This will be on the agenda for Wednesday. If not, we'll table it. We'll repeal it altogether. Any other questions, comments on anything on the agenda?
Okay, I guess I have one last comment. In regards to the, okay, never mind. So that's the one we amended in regards to the street sign, 291?
Yes.
That's one we amended.
That's fine.
Will we have
Traffic light.
traffic lights here? Will we have clarification on what exactly is being requested of the city prior to?
So there is a very technical email that I believe our chief of staff circulated that either he or I will circulate to council. My understanding is that between now and Wednesday, there will be an attempt by the mayor and or members of council to reach out to DCED to see if in fact that requirement is absolutely necessary or whether it can be waived or exempted.
How about from our directors, those in attendance?
The money man.
The church finger too. Learning.
Two updates. Mr. Davis, you want to comment about the Finance Committee meeting?
Yes, I would like to schedule one for the following Monday, the 19th.
There we go.
That way we can be updated and communicate exactly what's going on with finances. We haven't had a meeting in a month now.
And the second thing is for the public, tax bills to be paid at face value are due by the end of the month. Effective June 1st, a 10% penalty gets added. So we encourage everybody to get them paid that haven't. And I thank everybody for those that have paid. That's it.
You said May 30th, right? May 31st is a Saturday.
Yeah, so point being Monday the 1st is when the penalty starts. If you're postmarked
people are coming in, they need to come in by that Friday, the 30th.
Yes.
All right, thanks.
Is Councilwoman Gibson Williams still online?
Yeah.
Yes, I am.
Question, I don't know, has there been any talks, or for the 4th of July? I haven't heard anything about 4th of July celebrations. And I know Mark isn't here. Is there any talks from the Recreation, Committee or from anybody here that's planning anything?
No, and me and Mark have a meeting scheduled for next week. I'm calling him to have a meeting, I'm sorry, for next week. In regards to that and a couple of other events that are happening.
Okay.
I have a question for Judy with regard to the registrations for the, that the landlords have to do. They have to pay the $200 registration fee for their properties that are being rented. Case scenario, it actually happened. Someone was not notified last year or this year, but they are due to pay $200 for last year and this year. But there's been a penalty added on of $50 for each year. If they weren't notified, why are we charging the penalty?
Mayor, Council, all the invoices were mailed out. They went out on December 12th of 2024, and it was brought up with council, and the due date was extended to February 3rd of 2025 for this year. With the first year, it was the landlord's responsibility to register their property. We did not know who in the city of Chester were landlords or not. So all those letters and everything went out through council. It was posted on our website that they needed to register. As we got complaints in, if they weren't registered, they were notified that they needed to register. They were invoiced. They were given time to pay. If they did not pay, they got the penalty.
Some people never got the letter and they didn't know to register their properties because it's always, I think, been on the books, but we didn't always enforce it. Now we're enforcing it,
Correct.
And I'm just asking why the penalty?
Because
if they didn't know.
But they should have known. I even went through,
How should they have
I
known?
went through Treasury. Anybody that had a different mailing address than their property address, they received a letter with frequently asked questions. Do I need to?
They got it at the other address?
They got it at the mailing address that was on file for their trash bills.
Okay.
Okay, so if I own property at 1, Penn Street, and I'm renting 29 Penn Street, the letter would have gone to 1 Penn Street where I reside.
But this one was not even in your records as being a rental property.
Okay, so the letters went out to everybody that received a trash bill that did not go to their home residence. There's no way for us to know who's a landlord in the city of Chester without them registering. So we started at the trash billing. That's the only way I can try to reach out to these people. So thousands of letters went out. We had council meetings. It was on the websites. It had to be approved by council, which was passed in April of 23. We didn't even start invoicing people till October of 23. So there was many attempts made to get people to register. And then, like I said, as complaints would come in saying my landlord this or my landlord that, we would automatically look in the system. If they weren't registered, that was added onto their violation letter saying they had to register. And even with that, they weren't charged penalty if they paid by the due date, which was normally 30 days. If they paid after that due date, they were charged penalty.
I have people who say they never got the letter, never got it.
But how would I know they didn't get it unless they called the office too? I mean, all the frequently asked questions, the ordinances that were out there, it's a yearly registration fee. If you don't get your invoice, you need to call and tell us. I mean, if I don't get a credit card bill, I still have to pay the penalty on it.
I think that's a little bit different
But
from this.
residents don't get a trash bill. Are you talking about the rubbish tax?
No,
We're talking about rental registrations.
No, you said that you went by everyone that gets a trash bill. What-
Correct.
Are you referring to the rubbish tax?
Whatever trash fees are sent out through the treasury. I don't know if it's a tax or what it
Property
is.
tax bill.
So,
Yeah.
so it all comes up as a property tax bill.
So I had to break down that spreadsheet, and everybody that had a different mailing address than the property address received a letter. If they weren't renting their property, they just had to explain to us they weren't and show proof that they weren't, and they were wiped off the account.
I got one person who's still being waiting to be wiped off of the account, and they've informed us that they live in their property.
Okay.
They don't rent it out, but they're still getting the bill. I mean, the invoice.
So can you give me your name and address?
I can give it to you after the
Okay. And I can check into that. We have a lot of ones right now that we're also catching. According to Delaware County, it's a 2-unit dwelling. They're coming in and telling me it's only 1 unit. I can't take their word for it. We need to check into it. So I check with zoning, I check with Treasury, and then we're trying to get Delaware County straightened out to make sure that's reflective of what we're doing.
And then I had given one to Nona, I believe. Did I email you about the West 7th Street property, Mrs. Flagg or Miss Flagg? Okay. One lady reported to me that she has 8 units in a boarding house, but she's, and her place was inspected and she paid her bill and everything, but she said they're still charging her for 11 units. and
Okay,
she
I've
has
been
only
working
8
with
units.
her.
Oh, you have?
Yep, I've been working with her. And we had an inspector go out and verify it was 8 units. So her bill was adjusted to the 8.
Okay,
But that's where you got to work with Delaware County to get that adjusted.
okay, thank you.
Yep.
Even though we're not administratively responsible for things in the various departments, people still call us, all of us, with their concerns.
That's like I said, when I get something like that, you know, I'm reaching out to zoning and treasury, what do yous have? And then we go from there, and if it requires an inspector going out just to verify the number of units, they're not inspecting or anything, then they come back, give us the correct answer, and we can adjust from there.
Right, okay. Thank
Okay.
you.
You're welcome.
Any other matters anyone want to share? Microphone's open. Any further questions? We all right, Madam Clerk? Solicitor?
Fine, thank you.
All right. Guess I'll ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
Meeting adjourned.